Here we are post All-Star break in the CBH Hockey House, joined by the Steelheads All-Star representative, Mr. Brendan Hoffmann. Brendan, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, let's start off with your All-Star festivities back in Allen. How did that go for you? How'd the week go and everything down there?
A lot of fun. Got to meet a lot of guys, make some new memories. Met a lot of guys that I knew prior and, guys that play on Allen now that used to play here. And yeah, a lot of fun. It was a really cool experience.
Yeah, I mean, when you have of course, the Americans players taking part, you have the overall ECHL All-Stars. How nice is it to be a part of a group like that, of just so many good players all coming together from the league?
It's good. You see a lot of talent in different ways across the league, and you get to see a whole different spectrum of personalities. So I think that was the most fun, I think, that I think we had.
Also, hardest shot for you. Take us through that one.
Yeah, it was good. Didn't win, but I think it was a fun experience. It's always good being put to the test like that against other good players, and Charles Martin, obviously good player, and it's cool to run up against a guy like that.
Yeah. So from the All-Star, let's bring it back to the Steelheads for a moment before we jump ahead to what is coming against the Allen Americans at Idaho Central Arena coming up this weekend. Let's go back to the Orlando series, that 3 set of games. You guys take the first 2, you lose on the Saturday. What's your overall encompassing thoughts on that series?
Out of conference matchup. We're playing a team that, we don't see again for the rest of the year. So these 3 games are big, decide the series.
Yeah.
If you look at it from a points perspective, we take it 2-1, 4 out of 6. You want to get the third one, obviously, in every situation, but, long travel, right before the All-Star break, guys get a little banged up, very physical team we played. Yeah. You're bound to be prepared for any sort of bounces that don't go your way, and I feel like that all accumulated on Saturday. I think one of the best things about that weekend, though, is how we didn't kind of give up in the face of a team that was clearly very physical, and they were very, they made it their plan to rough us up a lot, and I think it was very good on us to show some solidarity and stick together throughout that.
Like you said, that Saturday game didn't necessarily go the way you were looking for, but I want to go back to Friday. 3-0 shutout victory. Jake Barcheski gets his first shutout as well. Take me through the defensive performance there.
We made sure that we were down some guys that game prior from the Thursday game, and we all knew that we'd be running a short roster, so we kind of just stuck to everything super simple. We got a lot of talented guys, but I think the biggest thing is we made sure that we didn't overcompensate our lack of men in the lineup, and we tried not to do too much. So I think the biggest thing was keeping it simple, playing our systems to a T, and Barzy obviously played phenomenal and did his part more than anyone and was able to get that victory for us.
So we are technically into the second half already. We played 37 games, but for all intents and purposes, we're starting the second half right now post All-Star break. So when you look back on the first half of the season so far, what are some things that you like from your team, and what are some things that you're aiming to improve upon in half number 2?
I think we showed a lot of resiliency in the third period. I think we're a team that thrives on third period performance.
Yeah.
I think one of our biggest assets is we haven't changed our work ethic throughout any game, no matter the situation or the circumstance. I think, there's a lot of things to work on with a younger team, obviously, but, we're kind of in a good situation where we don't necessarily have a long list of things to work on, whereas it's just a short list of details and small tweaks that you make, and they kind of accumulate into better and more productive things as the year goes on. So I think part of that is, having better starts and, being a bit more committed to the physical game. But outside of that, I think we've kind of, we've gotten past expectations and we've exceeded them in terms of our ability and our age and our experience, and, it's obviously it's a good omen for things to come. Yeah,
and speaking of some of the youth on the team, of course, large rookie class coming in this season. There are wildly different expectations you can have when you have that many rookies coming in for a season, but as you talked about, the progression of that class has kind of helped you guys along as well. Take me through some of the younger players and how they've kind of helped grow the team overall.
You got a lot of the Minnesota boys. So you got Bolte, Steinmetz, Malmquist, Silyanov, Nevers, and
Ports. Yeah, it's hard to keep track.
Yeah, all those guys. They form a tight group, and they keep each other accountable. And although they are a young group and they're going to be having their fun, I think they're able to dial it in when we need them to, and obviously it's shown. I think that most of the experience in this team is open-minded to having a different atmosphere like that in the locker room, where guys can be a little bit more loose, be a little bit more communicative, and a little bit more fun, and well, not necessarily fun, but just more outgoing in that sense. I don't think there's really any sort of gap in that, and I think that's kind of one of the things that helps us use youth to our advantage as opposed to making it something that we have to kind of deal with.
Yeah, it's certainly been a fun group to be around the entirety of this season. The chemistry seems to be there. Would you say this is one of the closer groups you've been a part of?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, part of it's a lot of the guys knowing each other prior, but I do think a good amount of it has come just from cohesiveness, being open to each other, and not being afraid to stand up for each other.
Final one for you. Of course, diving into your season, right? You've put up a tie. You're tied for the league leading goals as we sit here right now with 21. You're tied for 5th in points. It's been an excellent season for you, the All-Star nod. What are you looking to do personally in the second half of the season, trying to carry some of that success forward?
Probably try to refine, the two-way game towards the end of the year. Having obviously a good season points-wise doesn't really mean, personally, I don't think it will mean as much to me if we aren't winning. Mm-hmm. So, if we're winning and my point totals drop off, I'm perfectly fine with that, and I just think that's the main goal at the end of the day. I think as a unit you have more fun overall. The bottom line is just having success is going to make everyone better and have everyone get better opportunities. So I think, the more I can contribute and the more anyone can contribute is the better. But, it's good to be in the position I have been with, the help I've gotten from my teammates and, the bounces I've had. I'm grateful for it. I just like to see the wins that go along with it more than anything. Yeah,
simple there. Steelheads looking for wins at the end of the day, and they're looking for a couple of more just over there on that rink at Idaho Central Arena coming up this weekend against the Allen Americans. Brendan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Bruce.